Hello everyone, how's it going? This is the Bald Metal Nerd coming at you with another vid. This one is in response to Darcy 6 Strings 9 Lives most recent video, Late to the Party. This one's going to be about bands that I got into a bit late. I'm going to break the rules a little bit. Not all of these bands I've gotten into in the last 5 years. Some of them I've been into for a bit longer than that. But I'm definitely going to keep with the spirit of this. These are going to be all very well-established acts that I got into way after they had reached mass saturation. So anyway, I'm going to show off an extremely egregious example of this. Is the first artist. They are extremely famous. They're a classic rock act, most famous in the 70s. I'm sure you don't even really feel like guessing, and I don't blame you, but whatever. Bam. Believe it or not, this is the first copy of Dark Side of the Moon that I've ever owned. I have, my favorite Pink Floyd albums are Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall, Animals, and Wish You Were Here. Obviously, I was familiar with Pink Floyd my entire life. I mean, they've been on the radio literally nonstop my entire life. So clearly I was familiar with their music, but I never really paid a lot of attention to it. Like, I knew I liked a bunch of their songs that I had heard on the radio, but I never really felt the need to explore the band that much. Whereas now I've explored them pretty thoroughly, and they're definitely one of my favorite artists from that era. I find them to be, pretty fantastic for the most part. So, obviously, that's it. I was very late to really getting into Pink Floyd. I was familiar with them, but I didn't really embrace them until, well, recently. Probably the last, I don't know, probably 3 to 4 years is how long I've been what I would consider myself into the band, as it were. So, there you go. My most egregious example, I got another one, but we'll get to that. Probably, I guess, is the last artist. So, there's that one. Another band that I was late to the party on, Accept. And this is the 2010, obviously, Blood of the Nations. This is when I got into the band. Obviously, again, Accept. I was familiar with them. Of course, I knew the song Balls to the Wall. Who doesn't know that song? Restless and Wild, and some other stuff. I wasn't, like, deeply familiar with the band, but of course I knew who they were, right? But I was definitely late to getting into them. I wasn't into them at all during their first run. And in fact, this is probably going to be blasphemy to a lot of Accept fans, but I actually prefer the modern era I can't pronounce his name. We'll just call it Mark T era. I like the Mark T era of Accept better than the classic era. I know a lot of that's going to be heresy, but since I didn't have a lot of the baggage of being a previous Accept fan, I find modern Accept to be superior to classic Accept. Don't get me wrong. I think classic Accept is fantastic. I think Udo is fantastic, but I like modern Accept better. That's just my personal preference. So, next band that I was late to the party to, Carcass. This is Surgical Steel. I'm not a giant fan of the band overall. My favorite albums by them, of course, is Surgical Steel and Heartwork, right? Of course, their most controversial album, Swan Song. A lot of people hate it. I don't. I think it's all right. Those, whatever. I definitely like Carcass. They totally, back in the day, totally passed me by. I didn't really pay much attention to them. I didn't really pay attention to them until Surgical Steel came out, but now I really enjoy some of their work quite a bit. I mean, it's, like I said, those two albums, Heartwork or not Heartwork, geez. I like Heartwork, but what I mean is, yeah, Heartwork, not Swan. Okay. I'm messing up here on camera. Heartwork and Surgical Steel are my two favorites. Swan Song, okay. So, there you go. And, of course, the last artist I'm going to show off. I'm not sure how long I've been into this artist for. This is one of my favorite artists, and I've talked at length in a lot of videos about how this is one of my favorite artists. But again, I was extremely late to the party. Johnny Cash, you know, absolutely phenomenal. Needless to say, I mean, what can I say about Johnny Cash? It hasn't already been said. He's like, I know this is going to be a bizarre comparison, but he's kind of like, to me, the Michael Jackson of country. And what I mean by that is he's an artist even that completely transcends his genre, right? I generally don't like country music very much. It's not a thing I like most of the time at all. But Johnny Cash is so amazing that he completely just blows out of the bounds of the country genre, just like Michael Jackson was so fantastic that he blew out of the bounds of pop music, because pop music is another music I'm generally not super fond of. So anyway, that's it. That's my list. If you want to make a video response, go ahead, let me know, let Darcy know, leave comments below, all that stuff. Anyway, that's it. If you like this, thumbs up. If you hate me, thumbs down. Share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thanks so much for watching. Live long and prosper.